Today on MUFC Pulse, we'll dive into some incredibly intriguing news. Roma put a price tag on Mainoo Kone, and Tuchel addresses Kobbie Mainoo's continued place on the bench. For more on this story, check out the video. We also have some equally exciting football news coming up, so stay tuned until the end to catch it all. Welcome to MUFC Pulse. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell for more updates. Roma set asking price for Mainoo Kone. Manchester United have now made Roma and France midfielder Mainoo Kone one of their top targets to bolster their midfield. Roma are reportedly unwilling to let the 25-year-old midfielder go on the cheap, especially since the player still has a long-term contract running until June 2029, with estimated wages reaching £3.4 million to £3.8 million per season. Roma are said to have slapped a price tag of £45 million to £50 million on him for any club interested in snapping him up this summer. The player is reportedly keen on the prospect of playing in the Premier League if a deal between the clubs can be struck. Roma actually want to keep hold of Kone, but United keep pushing and have made an official approach in the last few hours. Manchester United's interest is further fueled by Kone's impressive performances for France in the recently concluded 2026 World Cup. He averaged a 93% passing accuracy and earned high praise from France legend Patrick Vieira. Vieira called him one of the best midfielders around, highlighting his high work rate, his ability to break up opposition attacks, and his skill at building play from the back. Alongside his mature passing accuracy, he was also the player with the most successful tackles in the French midfield throughout the tournament, averaging 3.8 tackles per match. Thomas Tuchel's take on leaving Kobbie Mainoo out of the World Cup. Manchester United's gifted young midfielder, Kobbie Mainoo, has written his name into the history books of international football by breaking into the main England squad for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. His name was officially announced by manager Thomas Tuchel as part of the chosen 26-man squad traveling to the major tournament. This achievement proves the incredible quality the player possesses, especially given that competition in the Three Lions midfield is incredibly fierce and filled with world-class midfielders. The call-up is not only a source of personal pride for the player but also a positive sign for the future of England's midfield on the world stage. Despite this, Kobbie Mainoo continued his frustrating run by not playing a single minute under manager Thomas Tuchel in England's quarter-final victory over Norway at the 2026 World Cup. The young Manchester United midfielder was expected to bring a breath of fresh air to England's midfield during the 2026 World Cup, thanks to his close control, his ability to escape tight spaces under pressure from opponents, and his skill in dictating play. However, Mainoo has not even been in the running for a spot in the starting 11 and has not even been brought on as a substitute. During the match against Norway, the manager, Tuchel, constantly chopped and changed his midfield setup but completely overlooked Mainoo. Declan Rice was taken off after the first half due to fitness concerns, and Jude Bellingham also left the pitch towards the end of the match. Even so, Kobbie Mainoo was still denied a chance to play. Instead, the German manager brought on centre-back Dan Burn to replace Bellingham in an effort to shore up the defence. Reece James was also shifted into a defensive midfield role, whilst Mainoo remained stuck on the bench, which immediately sparked a massive uproar on social media. Plenty of supporters felt that Tuchel seemed to be doing everything in his power to avoid playing Mainoo. Thomas Tuchel's decision to keep freezing out Kobbie Mainoo triggered a wave of deep disappointment and harsh criticism from the fans. Social media was buzzing with sarcastic remarks, with one supporter even mocking that Tuchel would seemingly rather use an extreme formation with 4 defenders and 7 wingers in midfield, as long as he didn't have to put Mainoo on the pitch. This strategy was viewed as highly baffling, to the point where many people began to question why the youngster was even called up to the national team if he wasn't given a single minute of game time in a match that lasted for 120 minutes. In the end, the match left behind nothing but a sense of frustration for the supporters, who had to watch yet another 120 minutes of football without Mainoo stepping foot on the pitch. Mainoo's ongoing exclusion has sparked a lot of debate regarding Tuchel's team selection. With England constantly rotating their midfield, the fact that the young Manchester United talent is just sitting on the bench is truly mind-boggling. On one hand, supporters feel that Mainoo's raw talent and creative spark are being utterly squandered on the bench during a tournament of this magnitude. On the flip side, this constant rotation suggests that Tuchel has a specific tactical blueprint in mind, prioritizing what he believes the squad practically requires on the pitch over public clamor. Thomas Tuchel's decision to limit Kobbie Mainoo's playing time throughout the 2026 World Cup tournament was based on a tactical strategy that prioritizes collective discipline and midfield balance. Tuchel prefers a combination of midfielders with a solid defensive profile and high physical stamina to cope with the incredibly intense pace of football in a tournament of this scale. The German manager has firmly asked all players, including the young Manchester United star, to put their personal egos aside for the good of the team. For Tuchel, the team spirit within the camp and the readiness of the players on the bench are far more crucial to winning matches than simply satisfying individual ambitions or giving in to pressure from public opinion. This cautious approach immediately sparked a wave of heavy criticism from football pundits and loyal supporters, who felt that Mainoo's creativity and exceptional ability to keep hold of the ball were desperately needed when the team hit a brick wall. Many argued that the 21-year-old's vision and composure in passing the ball could be the key to breaking down stubborn, defensive opposition teams. Despite the endless stream of protests on social media as the tournament progressed, Tuchel stood his ground, remaining steadfast in his philosophy that dressing room harmony comes before everything else. He stressed that every single team selection decision is made purely based on the specific needs of each match in order to bring the famous trophy back home to England. On the flip side, this debate actually reflects a classic dilemma in major tournaments, where public pressure to see young talent often clashes with a manager's pragmatism for the sake of the final result. For Thomas Tuchel, a tournament like the World Cup is not a stage for experimenting or simply handing out minutes on the pitch, but rather a tactical battleground that demands mental readiness and mature experience every single second. Although the decision to bench Kobbie Mainoo seems harsh and has caused quite a stir, England's progress deeper into the competition serves as an initial justification that Tuchel's focus on team stability is not entirely wrong. It stands as proof of the firmness of a world-class manager who is ready to take the flak to protect his team's strategy. Tottenham keeping tabs on Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford's future has officially entered a rather tricky new chapter after Barcelona decided against triggering his £26 million permanent release clause. Barcelona's decision feels incredibly ironic given that the Red Devils Academy graduate actually enjoyed quite a productive and impressive spell during his time on loan out there. Whilst donning the Barcelona shirt, Rashford successfully netted a total of 14 goals across all competitions, whilst making a massive contribution to helping the Catalan club lift their domestic league title. Instead of making Marcus Rashford stay permanent in their squad as many had predicted and expected beforehand, the Barcelona hierarchy have gone down a completely different strategic route in the transfer market. The club's board of directors have reportedly chosen to allocate their transfer kitty and funds towards bringing in other targets who are deemed a better fit for the team's long-term tactical needs. This sudden change of heart from the Spanish giants automatically shuts the door on the forward continuing his career there, a bitter pill to swallow that has forced the player's representatives to immediately draw up fresh plans for his professional future. As a result of Barcelona pulling the plug on the permanent deal, Marcus Rashford is set to report back to the Carrington training ground to take part in pre-season training with his parent club, Manchester United. Rashford's return to the Red Devils training facilities will happen right after his summer holidays following the 2026 World Cup officially come to an end in the next few weeks. This situation naturally sparks a new dynamic within the club, given that the forward must prepare to pull on the United shirt once again and prove his professional commitment under the watchful eye of the coaching staff currently managing the first team. The 28-year-old forward's return to Old Trafford has actually triggered a glimmer of fresh optimism amongst the club's faithful, given that the landscape and power structure in the Manchester United dugout have changed drastically of late. This is a far cry from the dark days back in December 2024, when Rashford's relationship with the club turned sour under Ruben Amorim's tenure, leaving him frozen out and forced to go out on loan elsewhere just to get minutes under his belt. Now, under the stewardship of the new permanent manager, Michael Carrick, the atmosphere inside the dressing room and the club itself is said to be much more settled and bursting with positive energy ahead of the upcoming campaign. In-depth reports from club insiders consistently suggest that there is absolutely no bad blood or lingering resentment between Michael Carrick and Marcus Rashford. Carrick is reportedly fully prepared to welcome Rashford back into his tactical plans should the forward ultimately fail to find a new home before the transfer window slams shut. Carrick also believes that Rashford's quality and sharp finishing can still be used to add depth to the Red Devils' frontline, provided the player can show a work ethic that meets the strict disciplinary standards he demands. Even though Michael Carrick is openly willing to extend an olive branch to the player, the Manchester United board remain under massive financial pressure this summer. Because of this, the club management have reportedly handed Rashford and his agent a very tight deadline to get his future sorted out as quickly as possible. The club are dead set on offloading Rashford on a permanent basis to trim a wage bill that is currently seen as far too steep and a heavy burden on the club's overall balance sheet. The financial weight of Marcus Rashford's contract is estimated to hit an astronomical figure, reaching £17.5 million a year, a number the Red Devils board want to get rid of immediately to stay on the right side of financial regulations. Manchester United have also made it crystal clear to the public and interested parties that another loan move for the forward is completely off the table this season. The uncertainty surrounding the winger's future has even thrown a spanner in the works for the Red Devils' incoming transfer business, with moves for new targets like Crescencio Somerville now completely stalled. Amidst this highly restricted situation, Tottenham Hotspur, under the management of Roberto De Zerbi, are reportedly monitoring the situation closely and are currently leading the race to sign Marcus Rashford. The Lily-Whites are said to be the Premier League side making the most genuine and aggressive moves to secure the versatile player's signature. The Tottenham hierarchy are understood to have made the most concrete contact through intermediaries to test the waters on bringing the lively forward down to North London, as De Zerbi is a massive admirer of Rashford's aggressive style of play. Despite Spurs' interest being very real, negotiations are bound to be far from straightforward, as Manchester United have slapped a price tag of around £40 million for a permanent sale to lighten their operational load. On the flip side, the Tottenham Hotspur camp are still reluctant to meet that valuation and are trying to haggle for a much lower price, given that the player's contract at Old Trafford now has just 2 years left to run. Aside from the transfer fee, the biggest hurdle also comes from Rashford's personal preferences, as he is reported to be prioritizing a move to a Champions League club or a return to playing his football abroad. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comment your opinion.